mother gave birth to you at the age of 13.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then she divorced at the age of 16. And you went to live with your father's side.
My father, to divorce my mom, said, I want custody of the child, which was me. And he gave me to his mother. I was born in Abu Dhabi. So he sent my mom back and he said, you want a divorce? You will give me the child. And she actually had to give me up. And his mother took me and raised me.
Okay. And she
in Abu Dhabi? That was in
No,
Abu Dhabi?
she when they got divorced, she was sent back with me to Beirut, and they took me from her in Beirut. I mean, my mom says to me that the day they took me, I was a year and a half, I was a baby, and she had to like give me away, and so she gave me to my grandmother, and then there was this, this rock, الحجرة اللي بنعمر فيها, the rock that we build with. She's 16, and she gave me away, and she carried the rock, and she just had all this, and she just threw it, and it shattered, like it just broke into pieces. But that was the only thing that she could do. She had no opportunity. She was not educated. She didn't have money. She didn't have freedom. It was aib. It was embarrassing for the family that she got divorced. And so 4 months later, they made sure she got remarried. Oh. And 6 months later, my dad came back to her, and she was already married.
Wow.
So she was still 13 when she got married again.
No,
she was 16.
16. Okay, sorry.
So she got So by the time she was 16, she was married twice.
Yeah.
Wow.
At 16, she was divorced. 4 months later, she was remarried.
Wow.
And this is due to the fact that it was aib not to be.
Due to the fact that my grandfather, who I love very, very much, Anjad, this was their mentality. And no, our daughter is divorced. And no, what are the neighbors going to say about us? And it was funny because in the building that my mom and dad met in Shiyeh, because that's where they all lived at the time, is where when I came back at 17 at that building, and all the neighbors were still living there, and they were all, it was
The
just,
same ones, basically.
yeah, they were all waiting on the balcony, and Amira's daughter is here, they were all doing the zalghuta and clapping, and I was just like, what is going on? It was in that building, so.
But that must have been so.
Like how'd you go on from that?
Growing up, I know you grew up in Florida, and because I mean culturally, I'm sure Florida and Lebanon, especially at that time in history, are two very different things.
You're trying to say I'm old?
No.
What are you trying to say?
Not at all. I'm saying people's.
What do you mean?
When you were in Florida, would people ask you like?
My generation.
No,
the older generation.
I shouldn't have said the word generation.
Right.
I should have given the specific
I am
date.
41, and I feel like I'm 23. And if you're 23, I bet you I can rave much longer than you.
You don't need to bet. I can
It's not that much of a challenge when it comes to him, honestly.
I can guarantee you can rave more than I can rave. I guarantee you.
If you get Ryan in a rave, first of all, that's a big achievement.
Oh, really? I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
take you to a rave.
I'm a
then.
couch potato. Yeah.
I'm going to take you to a rave. Okay.
Done.
No, sorry.
So just people in Florida, when they would ask you about your parents and everything, like would you feel a bit kind of hesitant to talk about that, or?
Look, my mom tried. She would always call me, and then it faded as you get older, because at the time there was no phones and there's no WhatsApp, and she had to wake up at when the Central is open for her to actually ask for the call internationally, and it would be 3 or 4 a.m. my time, and as time passed by I had nothing to say to her. And look, I grew up in a middle class, working class family that is really, really, really fucked up, okay? But they are my family. And we were raised with not a lot, but we were raised with so much that nothing was in my eyes. I want to say this, ما في شي بعينك. But we were really, really middle class. I've been working since 14. My aunt works, she's an alcoholic. My uncle is a head of the hotel business. I grew up all over the beaches of Florida. My other uncle is a Taekwondo champion. He's freaking crazy, but he waitresses. My grandmother had 10 kids. She lost 3. 2 of them died in the war. She's from the South. She still kills a goat during Eid in Florida because we all need to eat that. The neighbors. We are not a perfect family, but we are we lived in a family environment. The only thing was that I lived in a lot of fear with them because, you know, it was the Lebanese mentality, you know, we are raising you. You know, if it wasn't for us raising you, you would be God knows where with your father. And I didn't know where my father was. I knew he was in Nigeria, and that scared the shit out of me. And I didn't know him. If you don't, I don't know what, you will go, we will send you to Nigeria. Ya Ammi, but why? You know, and I
Always
wanted...
those threats.
It was always threatening. It was always in fear. And I lived and I grew up in fear of being sent away, in fear of not having a home, in fear of... So it made me fearful of everyone. And then that fear that I grew up with made me feel like everybody else is so much better than me. Everybody is more educated. Everybody's prettier, everybody is smarter, everybody is richer. So I became this kind of compliant girl, but Mariana was inside. Mariana was getting built. This character, this girl that is inside of me was starting to grow up, and she was rebellious. And she wanted to live, and she loves to dance, and she loves people. And I was always afraid, but my friends never saw that because I wasn't really allowed to do anything. I had 2 or 3 but very, very good friends, لليوم, till today they are in my life. I was never allowed out. I was never allowed to football games. I was never allowed to do anything. Friends were not allowed over. I was skipping school. I was smoking pot at 15. I was having sex at 15. I was street smart at 15. I was... Like, now that I look, I have a 15-year-old, and I was thinking, I would die if Sophie did this. I'd have a freaking nervous breakdown. But because I lived in fear and oppressed, because this is what they thought was protecting me, because they were worried what they would say about them in Lebanon, the daughter of and nobody knew who the hell we were. We're like nobody.
And this was before the age of social media as well, where
Of
people
course.
could like, oh, who you are.
Of
So there
course.
wasn't a lot of like, you can't really get a lot of exposure in general. And I was just like thinking about it now. Usually kids in general that have that experience a divorce from parents at a very young age, they tend to go from a psychological perspective, whether they portray that or not. They tend to go through a lot of like self-doubt, anxiety, depression, low self-esteem. And do you think you ever felt that when you were young? Did you always question that because right now you seem like a very confident person and you're very well spoken and you're very brave, whereas was that different when you were younger, especially before you became a teenager, when you were a kid, going through all that from a mental perspective?
I'll tell you something about when I was younger. I don't know what it is, but I don't have a lot of memories. I can't really dictate, like I can't remember what I felt like at 10 or 12, or I could remember maybe 14 to 17 for some reason.
That rebellious phase.
That phase, but the other phases was like, I don't have, like, I wanted to think of memories. I have these little, but there isn't really anything.
Maybe you purposely blocked them
Maybe
out.
You know, there's just these blocks of time in my life. But I was a good girl, you know. I'm a good girl. Like, I was just always just a bit more hyper and loud and just, you know, wanted to live in life. But I was, you know, we were really... And they did the best they can. You know, they had to take care of us. And I have a brother as well. So my dad did this a second time, who's a doctor now. And my brother used to always say, we're going to show them, sis. We're going to show them. And, you know, he was younger than me. And I'd be crying, but I'm not allowed out. And he's like, sis, we're going to show them. And he's a doctor now.
So do you think that drove you for like you wanted to become successful as like
Well, they showed them.
They did,
showed
yeah.
them.
But do you think one of the reasons as to why you worked really hard and why you wanted to, maybe you had something to prove?
Look, I don't think I'm successful. I think I've worked really hard, to be
Yeah.
really honest. To me, success is not where I am now. I
Yeah.
think success is really doing something that leaves a mark, and I'm not there yet, and I want to leave a mark, even if it's with one human being, because so many people came into my life and opened doors. ما بعرف من وين. It was like I have this bubble of protection from the universe, and God was like, I got you. And he would like leave me to like about to hit the ground, and then something comes in. Like I have conversations with them, like, seriously, you don't have anything else to do except me? Because I know you're going to take care of me right this second, and my phone is going to ring, and something is going to come, and I am going to be okay. And I could write books about that. So ما بعرف.
But you've left your mark already. Like you were telling us how you did a video and then you're receiving like 400 messages and people have actually put in so much effort into constructing these messages and telling you about their opinion or what's going on with them. Don't you feel that
That's
a
for
success?
you.
Like on a personal note for you.
I could tell myself you've done a good job till now.
All right.
But I don't think that is, you know, I've done a good job. I mean, from where I was to where I got, but طلع بقول, okay, Mariana, you've done a good job, you know, and now you got to keep that shit up. And now it's more we have to work on being a better person in general.
What caused you to come back to Lebanon and then eventually get into DHL?
So I was a junior in high school and I wanted to go study archaeology.
Cool.
Wow.
That's
I
pretty
still
cool.
do. Yesterday there was that archaeology thing they're digging up in Batroun.
Yeah.
I went in and
saw
I
that.
was in my pajamas. I like ran down and my flip flops. The girls like, you want to? I swear I did a
You want to
whole
find a
video.
dinosaur? Yeah.
I was like, maybe I need to do this. It was really interesting. Yeah.
So yeah.
I wanted to find something. I don't know. I was like, is there any humans here? They're like, no, the cemetery's over there. I was like, okay. No, but I wanted to study archaeology. And what basically happened was my family was like, we don't have girls that will go live alone in the university. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. And I don't know why. And they did a coup. They did a coup d'etat on my ass.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, what they did was they said, your mother is sick. My mother was not sick.
oh, great start.
And you need to go and visit her for 2 weeks in Lebanon. And you'll come and we'll take. And my aunt took me shopping at Express and Limited, and I with the Body Shop, and my friends who's still in my life, Jessica Montilla, I was like, girl, they are sending you back. You're going to the Middle East. They're gonna put on that veil and you're gonna get married. I'm like, no, man, it's not like that.
I'm
What
just
are you
going for
talking
2
about?
weeks.
I'm fine. She's like, you should run away. You know, Jessica's like, you should run away. I'm like, what do you mean run away? It's my family. They're saying am I going for 2 weeks? Yes, Teta, Ammu. I asked everybody. They got me on a plane, and my uncle's wife gave me a small Esprit bag, and she said, open it on the plane. And I opened it on the plane. It had $100, and I was sent back with no money. I mean, I love them. But that is like, I mean, you abandoned me, and you sent me with no money. No money. Okay, and I lived in Boca. I lived in Boca Raton. I lived in again, we lived there because my uncle worked there. But I lived on the beach around mansions, and I knew what everything good looks like. And, obviously, I came, I opened the bag in the plane. It had a note that says, I love you forever, and $100.
Wow.
And something said to me like, ooh, what the fuck? I had the worst plane ride ever. It was on Alitalia. I will never get on Alitalia flight. I have a fear of flying because of this experience. It was the first time ever leaving my family, traveling without them. I never knew what it meant to travel outside of the country. It was the worst turbulence in the world. I arrived to the airport in Italy. Nobody spoke English.
Oh.
I didn't know what to do with my ticket. I didn't know how to use a terminal. I didn't know anything. And I remember crying in the airport and like calling my grandma and saying, Teta, I don't know what to do and nobody speaks English. Of course, always somebody comes into my life. I arrived to the airport in Beirut. It was the old airport in '96. There was no terminals. The plane landed. We got out, and customs was outside somewhere and I stood in line. I wore a jeans dress for like 20 hours of flying. Mama تسألوني شو I don't even know I don't know what my mom looks like. I know that she's very beautiful. I have pictures of her, like beautiful. She is drop dead gorgeous. I didn't know how I would be received, and I stood outside. The guy opened my passport, and he said, your passport is expired. The picture on my passport is of a 2-year-old. I had a 3-month visa to live in America, to go to the States from the UK for 3 months. I lived there for bloody 16 years or so. Sorry. So the guy looks at my passport and he's like, "Ma fina nfawtek inna your and this guy comes up. I don't know. I know he had 3 or 4 stars. I don't know his name. I don't know who he is. I think he just saw some fear in my eyes because I was really scared. I really did not know what to do. And he said, "What's the problem?" And the guy goes, "Her passport is expired, sir, whatever." And he looks at me. I said, "I'm here to see my mom." And he goes, "She's with me." They stamp and I walk in. I walk out to the belt to get my bag. and walk out, and I see this really, really, really beautiful woman. I knew she was my mom. She knew it was me. Obviously coming with a jeans dress, whatever. And I was thinking, oh my God, she's so beautiful. Thing is she arrived with her kids and her husband. And now I realize it later as a mother, she hasn't seen me in 16 years, and she came with her whole family, and her life was set. She had a family. I'm just an intruder to this family in a way, and to this new lifestyle that, and I was picked up in an orange Volvo that was rusted and I don't know what. And I just thought, this is Lebanon. And when we were going to Shiyeh, there was some people shooting in celebration for Salim Islam, one of the Salim, whatever, one of that guy. And I thought it was war, of course. And I was looking at all the buildings that were shot, and she was like, oh, don't worry, Mom, this is normal. Okay. We get to the Shiyeh, everybody's on the balcony. Amira's daughter is here. I'm like, okay, this is great. And I was scared, and she was scared, and she thought she's getting a 1.5-year-old baby. I was 17 years old. I was sexually active. I was smoking out. I was working. I was a young American kind of Lebanese girl, but
that carried on even when you came back and lived in Lebanon. That kind of rebellious phase still carried on in Lebanon.
I wasn't really rebellious. Of course, I had no access to anything, not sex, not drug, nothing. I had to find my way, right? And and I would, then I realized, okay, I'm not going back home. I would go down and call my grandmother. And then my grandmother realized, oh my God, what did we do? So she would cry every day, and I would cry every day, because when I used to come home, I was the baby, and Teta would always I dance very, very well Arabic, and I know every song, because my grandmother, when I come home from school to do my homework, she would sit next to the bed with a little radio, and it was always Warda وميادة وكلثوم وزي الهوا, and I always listened to them. I thought it was horrible. Now I love them, and I love the poetry of the music, and I sing it with all my heart, So when I came back, she realized we couldn't go back, and I realized we couldn't go back, and I was just crying. I was, Teta, please, Teta, I need to go back home. I need to go back home. How am I going to go back home? And she's like, maybe you need to apply to the American embassy in Cyprus. There was no American embassy in Beirut. Maybe you need to apply to the American embassy. But Skif, how do I do this? Look, I knew I was not going back home, and I knew that this was not going to be my life. And there then started the physical abuse. I mean, my mom, she didn't mean I'm not justifying what she did, okay? I'm not, she knows. But there was so much pressure from her ex-husband that she basically she came out with this rage at me. I started jogging in the neighborhood, just jogging, because that's what we do in Florida. We jog. I mean, not in Shiyeh, but like we jog. And I'm like, okay, you can't let me do anything. I'm going to jog. And I started jogging out. And then I started seeing a nicer neighborhood, which was Badaro. Because I lived in these kinds of neighborhoods. So I could, okay, wait, this is nicer. Keep jogging.
You could relate.
This is nicer. Keep jogging. And one day I saw a DHL sign. And the only thing it said to me was home. But I'll tell you why. Because I grew up where anywhere I would go to see my friends or have lunch or anything that I was allowed to was at my uncle's hotels that he managed on the beach. And he was the general manager. And my aunt was the front desk manager, or my other uncle F&B. If the whole family is working in the freaking place, right? Of course. Hey. And then they bring the kids, and we take a room, and I could swim, and all the staff knew me, and I could have the cheddar cheese I loved, and whatever. And every morning a DHL would come because they had to send couriers. And it was 96, there was nothing in the country. I was like, home. I walked in, it was an open space, and I said, hello, do you have a vacancy? I'm looking for a job, in my sweatpants. And the guy...
Super professional.
Yeah, the guy, Marwan, who's still a friend, years later, said to me, no, but why don't you fill out an application? Here's another one of those I need to write down. Wahyat Allah, I promise you, this is not a joke. Like, I look back and I say, is this for real? I do the application, and I'm talking to him, of course, because I like, obviously I like to talk. what do you guys do? You sure you don't need? Would you call me back? Da, da, da. And the general manager, the customer service manager, Ziad, heard my accent. I was literally pushing the door out saying thank you. And the guy goes, sorry, miss, did you just apply? I went, yes. He goes, do you want to come in for an interview now?
Wow.
On my life. I said, yes. I go in and he's like, okay, we're looking for somebody in customer service. Yes. I'll do anything.
Yes.
أنا على طول yes. اليوم بركة till today. And he was like, $350. I'm like, yes, I'm rich. Okay, I am rich now. I swear. And you know, that $350 I used to make, I swear had more value than whatever I'm making now. Like it was, you know.
At the time,
it was
something else. Yes, of course.
And I got the job. I stayed with them for 16 years. But the turn of, you know, where the universe is really brilliant. Well, first I had to start paying rent. So my stepfather asked for rent, so I was paying half of that for rent. And then I wanted to, you know, all the team at DHL, I was a baby. I was their baby, you know, the 17-year-old. And she's so bubbly. And I really didn't want to go back home at the end of the day. So I would do anything. Who needs me to copy? Who? And it was like up and down. We were only 70 employees. They're like 250. Now, who needs? I don't know what. And I didn't, you know, read and write Arabic. I didn't understand Arabic as much, so everybody would make fun and try to teach me. I became the baby of DHL. And we had to work once a month to fill out invoices and make $60 extra on our paycheck. So I thought, this is great. I'll work once a month, fill out invoices because nothing was digital, and we get $60 and you come home at 2 a.m. And one day I came home, and my mother, I think her husband just put everything in her head, and she just, you know, sat and was like, you're this, you're that, you know, she cursed at me.
For no reason.
That I was late. She thought I was out partying. I was really working.
Yeah.
Conflict in lifestyle, honestly.
Yeah.
And mentality.
And mentality, generation.
Especially when you've been living in like America all your life, then you go to Shayyah.
And you got a job. That's
Of your own,
crazy.
And I was paying half of their rent.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, like, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but that's kind of an asshole move.
Yeah, he's an asshole because he used to loves my mom before my dad, my husband. God, it's so complicated. My dad and my husband. I was like, okay, I need therapy for this. No, not my dad, not my husband. He used to be in love with her. So anyway, I think I was just like this idea of Anwar to him. You know, Anwar came in, and I left that night. I opened the drawer. I just took my passport. I went to my friend Carol's house. I knocked at her door and I said, I'm never going back. And I was like, man, you waited 17 years for me. You know, you'd sit and pray to see me. And I used to be like, I want my mom. My mom is Miss Lebanon. I used to think she's Miss Lebanon because my grandma says she's so beautiful. And I told everybody my mom is Miss Lebanon. I lied, guys. So I didn't know. I really thought she was. And she is. She really is. I love her. I love her and I forgive her. And I wish I could have given her more power to not live this sort of a life that I know she probably would have had such a bigger capacity to do had she had the chance to be untamed.
Get exposure, basically.
Yeah, and to be untamed, and you know, like that Glennon Doyle book about how we become like these cheetahs and we're told what to do and we conform, and she had to conform. So I left. I ended up getting promoted by DHL when they fired 25 people that day. 25 people were fired, 2 were promoted. It was me and somebody else. I was shitting bricks when I went out. I swear to God. The first thing I said to him, I said, if you're firing me, I was making $900. I said, I just want to know why. I just want to know what I did, please. And he goes, I'm so sorry we're doing this today. But Mariana, I have to. We took the new office in downtown, and we're going to be representing the American embassy. I didn't have to go to the embassy. The embassy came to my hand. God and the universe sent it. That's the only way I could look at it. I mean, how crazy. إنه هلا لما بفكر بالموضوع 20 something years later, it's like I ended up, opening the place in downtown. There was nobody. It was me. It was the church. It was the mosque. It was Casper and Gambini. I was waitressing there at night, working at DHL during the day, and everybody would have to come in and apply for their visas. Who had to fill out the application? Me. Who would know if somebody is getting a visa or not?
You.
Me, because anyway, when it comes back, nobody waits to go into their car to open their passport. They bloody open it.
Instantly.
You know, some of them went through, like we had like 2 doors left and right and a whole glass thing. They would be so busy opening, they've fallen down the stairs, hit the glass door. Like they're so into, did we get our visa? So I started understanding what is the type of people that will get a visa and will not. I started understanding, like, he is not getting a visa. She's getting
Very
a visa.
accurate, yeah.
You start understanding because you know what they look for. They look for people that, you know they're coming back. They don't need to stay. Somebody who's going for good. You can tell they're going for, it's so easy to spot. But I never opened my mouth about America. And I was the person sending them the diplomatic bags and, getting them back. I never opened my mouth, nothing. Until my brother was graduating, and he called and he said, sis, and he was graduating with honors. And he said, I'm not getting on that stage without you. I'm like, bro, you're crazy. Like, I'm working. They could fire me. And he said, sis, I'm not getting on that stage. So figure it out. And I called the embassy. My friend Sana Alamuddin, who is one of the women I am grateful for the rest of my life. Atli, whose passport did you screw up with now? I'm like, nobody. No one, but I need to tell you something. And I told her, and she was like, what? I'm like, yeah, this is, I would love to go back and see my brother. She said, okay. She calls me back at 3:30. And she said, Mariana, if I give you this visa, you have to promise me you're coming back. I'm like, okay, I promise. But I wasn't really promising, but I wanted...
Like, yeah, we'll see.
No, I was like, I promise. Like, I wasn't, but somewhere inside I was like, what if I go and
What
I
if
want
an
to stay?
opportunity arises over there? What if you enjoy it too much? All these thoughts rushing
Yeah,
through
but
your
when I
head.
went, I knew that was not my home anymore.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. How many,
Oh my God.
How many years?
For what reason?
How
Like,
many years
what-
was it?
It was sorry.
How many years was it since you, like, when you went to
It was
America?
4 years
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
Like 3 or 4 years later. It was just not home. My no way. It was not home. First of all, everybody's gone. Everybody's working. Everybody graduated. I have, nothing.
No AK-47s in the air. when
No
you're in the street,
AK-47s.
yeah.
I mean, I like to keep it. I like to keep it actionful.
Yeah.
It was not home. It was. I wanted to go to kind of tell them, look, you really screwed up. Like, you abandoned me, and I still have these issues now. I have to deal with. I have abandonment issues. You raised without a mom and a dad, and then the family that raises you does a coup d'etat and sends your ass to your fucking country, to somewhere that looks like Afghanistan, and you're not compared to Boca, and you were in a bathing suit, and they abandoned me. They didn't mean to abandon me. Doesn't mean they don't love me. They just didn't know any better. And they know I love them and I respect them. But even now, when the explosion went out, something in me went like, I felt so bad. Am I rambling?
No?
No.
I messaged them, and my uncle, who I love, he's like my dad. He is the love of my life. And I was like, fuck you. You fucking set me back. I've been nuked. I was such a good kid. And I had never said that. Like,
You just
I
let
was
it all out.
You got clarity, essentially.
yeah, I was
Okay.
like, I am, I was such a good kid. I don't deserve this. I did not deserve this. You guys fucking sent me back for what? To get nuked after working all these years to get... And they were in bits. I really hurt them. But I think I needed to get that out. My aunt, my grandmother, she was calling me every day. I said, nobody calls me. I don't want anybody to ask about me. I was enraged. Because that whole abandonment has been with me for 25 years, but I was always very decent about it. Like,
Keeping it quiet.
yeah, you can't raise somebody for 17 years and just throw them
without an explanation.
without,
as well.
it's not like I did anything wrong. Even when we were graduating, the dean said there's one person missing in this graduation, and this person would have never dropped out. Because I would have never dropped out. I had a 3.2 GPA without even going to class. Like, I could have, you know, I could have, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, I got my visa. I went back. I realized this isn't home, and you know, I'm so much freer where I am. I'm free. I'm free of obligations of the family. I'm free of rules and regulations. I work. I do my thing. I'm free.
See, all of that, like, don't you feel that if you hadn't gone through all of that shit, that, or even considering that you don't consider yourself successful yet because you have so much more that you want to do, I feel that if you hadn't gone through all of that, you wouldn't be here now saying the things that you're saying, and, you know, with so much like passion, determination, and you're convinced that what you're saying. It's because
I think it also built character. Like built character and
you've
drive.
been put in that situation where you've had to pull yourself out of the shit, and I mean the shit of the shit, and you have.
Like technically,
And you still are.
The odds are always stacked against you from birth up until that point. Like you were always raised here, and then when you were raised here, they sent you back without any money, and then when you were working, you started getting a job, and then you left your mother's house. So you're always like, every situation that you found yourself in was not a situation that was, oh, okay, I'm in a good place right now. It was always, okay, I'm here and I need to depend on myself to get myself out of the situation. So that in itself is very motivational.
I think you were at DHL for 16 years, right? And you always came in with that mentality and a go-getter and working hard and everything. But I'm sure also there was the other side of Lebanese society and growing up in Lebanese society. Did you ever feel yourself, as you were climbing the ranks and doing what you're doing, saying, like, because you said this when you were younger, I need to be better, I need to be stronger, I need to be prettier, I need to have more money, I need to be held in an even higher regard in this society? Did that ever
It wasn't I need to be, it was everybody was better than me that way. And I just knew that, like, yeah.
In the material way? Or
no, in everything. They're better, because they're more educated, so they're smarter than me.
That was your perception. Okay.
Yeah, you know, I mean, whatever. Her body is nice. No, I love my body, but I mean, now I do. I can, you know, say I am a woman. I feel it. I am 41. I'm more grounded. I'm more comfortable with myself. But before, of course, I wasn't. I wouldn't leave my hair curly because it was conforming to society. You know, and I have like beautiful curls and my hair was long. There's all this whatever conforming, but still there's this rebellion in me. Like, no, I'm not gonna always follow the rules. So, you know, that helped. But it did push me. It pushed me because I wanted to be smarter. And when I married my ex-husband, he is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant man. And every night he would sit and read all these books. And because of him, I was reading so much. Because of him, I looked up to him so much. And I wanted to be successful like him. And I worked, and it just, you know, it got through. But now, do I look at that in society? Not anymore. No, after all that we've been through, none of this matters. What's in here matters, and my sanity. And
how long did it take you to become fully accepting of yourself, not comparing yourself to others, as in, oh my God, she's prettier, oh my God, she's more knowledgeable, or he's more knowledgeable. Like, when did you fully accept yourself for who you are?
I think when I left DHL,
yeah,
I just left everything. I left DHL, I left my husband, I left a small business I was starting, and I wanted it all. I wanted everything over with.
So it's like a new chapter, basically.
Yeah, and I just said, I will not be a slave to anybody. I will not be fearful to anybody. I wanted to stop being afraid. And I think that really, really, really helped me structure. I mean, in the past 2 years, I've completely changed, but it was the beginning to where I am today, the past 7 or 8 years. That's where I started feeling the society, when I entered the PR world that I didn't know anything about. I created my own world in my head of what I knew of PR.
Yeah.
I was like, what's PR? You know, going to events and I don't know what. You know what PR is? These people need to make money. I need to find a way for them to make money. I'm a salesperson. That's what I know. So I need to link them with the right people and the right clients. What is this whole send a press release and go to... No. I need to... That's how it really started. And I said, I will not be a slave to this corporate bullshit, because I was living in corporate fucking bullshit, you know, with other women putting me down. Yes, with other women trying to break me. And I have broken tables and screamed and yelled and left and all of it. And like, woman. And I left. I'm like, I am not going to be that woman. You are not going to be that woman. And I'm still being tested by God for things that, you know, to be that kind of a good woman, whether desire comes in or other things comes in. It's like, we decided we're going to be a good human. So you get tested. Anyways, when I left DHL and I started my you know, the PR, it led to things. And I said, I will not be a slave. No money in the world will cover my freedom. So if I decide to work with you, it's because my heart and soul and mind and everything is with you. And I'm not taking you because you have money and your dad is rich and I don't believe in your brand or anything like that. I didn't know at the time that was going to be part of the serious success of my PR company. It was just really, you are not gonna buy my freedom. You can't afford it, honey. So if I like you, I'm really gonna work my ass off for you. And that showed so successfully in what I did, because I was so happy to take on these clients. And then others were like, oh my God, she won't sign you up. Mariana Wehbe will say no. I didn't know that was happening. You know, it was like, no, yes. No. Yes, I want to work with McLaren. No. Yes. Even if it's a small brand that I believed in. That really helped me. That gave me a lot of freedom as well to say, oh, you know what? It's okay to say no. It's okay to be whoever I am. And it's okay for those who never believed in me now invite me over and say hello to me. And now I understand
because
the
now
dynamics.
you have more of a title.
Yeah. Now I understand the dynamics.
Yeah.
Okay. But also these dynamics, and why I tell you, to me it's not about success, is because people can, you know, blow you up and in a second pop you. And as long as you're doing sexy things and that you are successful and you are this and you are that, everybody loves you. But do they really love you when you make a huge mistake and you lose everything? Do they really love you when your business is falling down? Do they really love you and respect you, not on your good days? And those I have through my dear close friends and clients who've become family, that's what matters. So
there's an Eric Clapton song that goes, nobody loves you when you're down and out. And then it goes, when you get back on your feet, everybody wants to be your long lost friend. And I think if you talk to every single successful person in the world, they'll tell you that's true, right? Like when you get to a certain point where you transcend a certain kind of like threshold or like point.
Especially here, I think.
Especially here, because
I think that's even the
They-
strategy you were doing is interesting, because that was your business strategy and that's what helped separate you. But it was also kind of like a middle finger to every social norm we had in this society, because in the social norm, if you come from, you know, a lot of wealth and status and a big family name, automatically it's let's bow down to you. Let's even politically, I mean, that's how it runs.
everything.
So for you to then take your business strategy and be like, nah, fuck that, I'm not going to do that. That was quite interesting.
And I also find it very interesting, not just like with who you work, like who your clients are, but also who you hire. Like you are against this like CV, I'm just going to go by the resume, check. No, like you're really into finding out more about the person.
You
and
know,
what they have to
Marwa,
offer.
my assistant,
Yeah.
Marwa used to be a waitress
Yeah.
at events I did. This girl used to come up to me and give me a hug and a kiss. I didn't know who the fuck she was. Okay? I used to know this is really cool girl waitress. There's not a lot of girl waitresses. Bravo alayha, she's working her ass off. Nothing. Dana, my assistant at the time, decided to get married and leave, who I love, and wanted to start a family. I was like, oh my God, شو بدي أعمل بلا دانا؟ دانا مشيت لي حياتي. I have a CV box on my laptop. I get CVs every day. That's how I knew. I was like, okay, MWPR is doing all right. We're getting CVs.
People are interested.
People want to work here.
People want to work with me.
Really? Wow. So I would just drop. I would always wanted to respond. You know, there's no vacancy, and just drop them in the CV box. It had like 500 emails. I swear to you guys. I swear. I went into it. I opened it, and I just clicked on an email. I read the email, and I said. I forwarded to Dana and I said, bring this young woman in. I did not look at any other email. I did not know who the girl was. I promise you this. Dana sends the email. The girl comes to the office. We do the interview. I'm sitting with her and I'm like, oh my God, like you look familiar. She's like, yeah, I work for Barbecue Bros and you do the events, and we had a shot the other day at the end of the Nissan 50-year anniversary. And I'm like, oh my God, you're the waitress. You're the waitress. You're this girl that She's like, yeah. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, yeah, and I work at night. And I'm like, you're hired. You're hired. I have not seen anybody else but her. A 400-kilo glass fell on her during the explosion. I thought she died. We had to get her out. 4 days later, Marwa was with me opening Bebu Shabik. I will never leave this girl for the rest of her life. I did not need to look at his CV. You know why? Because she was hungry. She was hungry and she needed an opportunity.
Yeah.
And she needed somebody by her. And she needed a little bit of love and compassion and security to be taken care of.
And for some divine reason, you only clicked on her CV.
I swear on my life.
Another theme in your life.
And
yeah.
you can call Dana and say, how many people did Mariana interview before hiring Marwa?
She'll tell me 0.
Call Dana. I'm telling you.
Give me her number.
Take it.
Let's do it on camera.
Let's call Dana.
Now's not the time, Joe. I'm guessing at this moment in your life, you've started a successful PR company. You've kind of proven doubters wrong a bit. Was there any moment where your dad wanted to come back into your life and he saw, wow, my daughter's actually doing
No.
really well and I want to connect?
No, but I did get a call about a year or two ago that he is staying at some hotel and that they were going to kick him out if I don't go pay. So I went and I paid.
Okay.
Really? That's one of those like movie scenarios.
Literally.
Really?
Yes. Where
It's like in the third, when everything is going well in the third act and then something from
I
the past
went and
comes
I
back.
paid.
Yeah.
You could have. You could have.
He wasn't even downstairs.
Oh.
So you didn't see him?
No, and the minute I walked into this hotel, it's like a whorehouse in Hamra, which was really obviously they knew that I'm not a whore because they knew that this is the girl who's going to pay for this guy because this girl looks like she's not a whore and only sorry, but that's the truth. So I walked in, I paid. The time I was dating this young man who's 26, I had a love story with, and that was never going to work, even if the universe conspired. Okay, it was just going to be impossible. And he was waiting for me outside, and I said to him, I said, please, please, please now. And I ran out, and I got in the car, and I said, just keep driving as far away as you can. I need you to drive. And he drove me to Batroun, and we just kept driving for a few hours and came back. I felt like I needed to like shower and like just get whatever this is off of me, and then I went to therapy.
That was the moment that got you to go.
I went, I started.
Because this is not an easy topic to talk about in any circumstance. Like when a father is supposed to be someone that you can relate to and talk to when you need, and you were the one taking care of him and during his fuck ups at some point.
The whole family was.
And you, his daughter, which is unreasonable.
I don't think I'm his daughter. I just don't. He doesn't know what I smell like. He doesn't
That's
know what
good
I
point,
sound
actually.
like. He doesn't know anything about me. I'm not his daughter.
Yeah.
I learned that. I was grasping to this idea of a dad, of a father figure. My husband was a bit of a father figure, I guess, that I married, who, I needed that strong and powerful and intellectual, and then save me. Everybody needed to save me. Well, guess what, honey? Nobody's going to save you if you don't save yourself. I'm going to save myself, and that's it. That's it, But I realized he doesn't know anything about me, and I don't know anything about him. He didn't change or make anything in my life, Yani. I kept searching for this thing that does not exist and created a fantasy in my head of something that does not exist, and of a love that does not exist, and of an acceptance that does not exist in my life, in Mariana's life. This was not given to her. So stop fucking looking for it, because this person does not exist and would have not changed anything in your life. I've done okay. I've given that up. And even when we did therapy, I mean, my therapist did a whole study and asked me to send it abroad because she's not my therapist anymore. She's like my mom. We really connected, and I needed that, I never really knew how to cry, like in that kind of. And when we killed him in therapy, they ask you to imagine, how you kill him, and then I killed him, and then I gave him a beautiful funeral, and I put him next to his father, and it was all in white and flowers, and my therapist says, I cannot believe you did that.
So this is a therapeutic technique where you imagine
So in therapy, I don't know. So you kill the person in your mind because you're
Okay.
allowed to use your
You bury
mind
them.
to
We've all done that a few times.
So you kill them. But I mean, killing your parents is very
That's
difficult.
deep. That's
no,
deep.
probably.
Yeah, and it took
Yeah.
time for me to get there, like to kill him in mind. How would you kill him, and how would you do it? So I was like, what, me? Okay, and now I'm ready to kill anybody, right? No. But I mean, and I didn't even think about it. I was just like, I'm done with you, and here's a beautiful funeral, and these are beautiful flowers, and I'm gonna put you next to your dad, and I am done. And she thought it was like, a year later, when she's like, my mom, she's like, just cannot believe you did that. I'm done, guys. I'm done. I'm done searching for that. I'm done searching for someone to save me. I'm done searching for the guy that is going to come and love me fucking endlessly. I'm done. I'm so okay on my own. I have so many love stories. I have so many great coincidences. I have such amazing freaking friends. I am so okay on my own when I am alone. And, you don't get everything in life.
Yeah, that's
It
It's
ain't.
deep,
It's
but
not
that's
so
true.
bad. I'm done with him.
like sometimes we always as human beings tend to always look at things that we don't have, but we never sit down and take time to appreciate what we actually have. Because you'll never be able to have anything throughout life, and you must just look like, okay, I might not have this, but there's so many people that wish they have what I have right now, and you don't take that time to actually sit down and be grateful for it. And what you're saying was actually deep. And
I love how strong you are,
Yeah.
like how determined you are. You know who you
I'm
are
not
and
that
what you
strong.
want.
We're gonna continue
Well,
to
look,
praise
if-
you. I think
Yeah,
you have
I
to
think
sit
you're
there
gonna
and
say
take
that. I'm
it.
gonna
yeah.
get embarrassed.
Well, look,
I don't.
if you don't think you're that
Easily,
strong,
yeah.
I will tell you that you are wrong.
And I love how we were saying this before. Like, I love how open you are to talking about these things and talking about the adverse situations and talking about the fuck ups, but also praising yourself. I think it's very healthy. I don't know, like, I feel like we need more of that here. Like, I wish I could see more people be open to who they are and where they came from, and because who gives a fuck? You
And
know what I
this-
mean? Like,
in this society in general, like people are so embarrassed about being vulnerable or
Right.
about talking about either their insecurities, their
Right.
fuck ups, or their personal problems. And people are like, and especially like even with families, you have, don't say this, don't
Hey,
tell people this, or
bah.
don't say that. But that, if you're going to do that, and not just through my personal experiences, if you're going to bottle up everything inside you and you're not gonna go and engage and talk, then it'll end you. If psychologically, it's very heavy to keep everything bottled up and to overthink everything. Just say what's on your mind. People are not
It frees you.
yeah. First of all, it frees you, and I genuinely think that people in general. Okay, you have people that could be jealous or that could be deceptive, blah blah blah. But people in general, people who you form close bonds with, are genuinely care about you. And once you open up to other people will start opening up with you, because like, wow, you're actually comfortable in saying this, and it might change people's perspectives about how they should live their own lives as well. I think talking is a very important thing.
and if they react in a negative way to you, good. Separate the weak and the fake people. Great. The fact if you open up and they react in this way, oh, that's not who I thought you were, or what I expected you to be. Good. Get out of my life. Simple. Very easy.
You know what? You come here alone, and you're gonna leave alone. This cannot be,
These are the only
way-
facts.
You know, when I did the Vogue party, it was like the biggest party in the country. It was crazy insane what we did. We had Victoria's Secret models here. We had Golden Barbie. We had Min Beddak, Elisa, Min Beddak Kin. I swear to you, I got into the elevator and I was going to the party, and I knew how big this is going to be, and I knew this is going to change my career, and I knew because everybody was calling, "Why I miss you."
Everybody misses you now.
Everybody missed me. My
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
I was so missed. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, "Mariana, you came here alone. You are leaving alone. This is not going to go to your head, and this is not going to change you, and that's it." And there's a lot of people that do not like me, and it's okay. And there's a lot of people that adore me, and that's okay. But I don't know either or. Both sides for me are not affecting my actual life right now. I can appreciate and respect those who don't, who do like me, and those who don't. If they have the courage to come up and speak to me, then have the courage and come up and speak to me, and maybe you'll give me a chance, and maybe you still won't like me, and that's all right, because
happens.
Because you're not changing my life.
Yeah, of course.
You're not doing
It's a
anything to
healthy
my
way to go
life.
about it. Yeah.
But people like to box you, Tariq.
Yeah.
It's easier
No.
for them. We had this conversation.
Yeah.
It's so much easier for them to put you in their little box. They know where you're from. They know where your family is. They know how much money you have, what kind of education, who you've slept with, all of that. They love that. It makes them feel so much more comfortable. But when they can't box you, I mean, Mariana Wehbe, nobody could figure out if I was Sunni, Shiite, Christian, Druze.
You've always been very grateful towards Lebanon. You're actually one of those people that spoke really highly of it. And when I studied you on social media, you have videos saying, Lebanon gave me my life and I'll be forever grateful. A year has passed. Do you still have these sentiments towards Lebanon?
It's a kid.
Even
Really?
after the bomb and what's happened
This
this
is
year.
my home, guys. This is our home. This is our home. This is ما بعرف شو بدي أعمل. I wish I could just carry it and hold it and protect it and save it and give it the love it needs and the unity it needs. I wish I had the power to do something. I do what I can, what I know how, without, whatever resources. But my God, yani, Lebanon is like the most beautiful man or woman you can ever meet in your life. It's just the people inhabiting it don't deserve it. This land doesn't deserve us. We should have been better to it. And I worry about myself with this attachment I have. Obviously, it's because it's the only home I have ever had. So there is a psychological thing to it, where it's the place where I was left, and the place where I made myself, and the place where I was free, and the place where I became a mother, and I liberated, and I became, I have my own business, all these dreams. And no, Anjad, Anna, I'm doing this. I'm really getting on the plane this way. Am I really traveling this way? Am I really in this meeting? Am I, no, this is. I still look at the things that I do. I go to Geneva for the Christie's jewelry show, and I travel on whatever, and I go to New York, and I do great things, and I بطلع بقول هاي أنا هون إنه معقول? Is this for real? I swear to you, I sit on the plane and I think, really? So I imagined it would be. Yes, I wanted to be that person. مش معقول. Lebanon gave me this.
And yourself, of course.
Yeah.
You gave I wouldn't discredit what you did.
But Lebanon gave me that because I was like I told you, I wasn't boxed. I had this freedom to maneuver, to be whoever I wanted to be, and keep pushing and it's funny. It's like, hey, you're coming behind people and you're doing your thing and they don't know yet. And I didn't know that I was doing that. I was free. And it was, who's this girl? Who is this? What is she? Lebanese, American? What is she? Christian, Muslim? Why is she doing something with Zaha Hadid? Why is she? Who is this girl? I was able to just be free and bring something to my country. And everything I ever did was around Lebanon. I refused to do, Vogue's first year anniversary was supposed to be in Dubai. I did everything to make sure that it happens here. I mean, everything. I mean, the day we were doing the seatings, Manuel, the editor-in-chief, and I was so drowned. I sat everybody on one row of the table, and he goes, I said, okay, that table is done. He goes, what about the people sitting in front of them? I said, what do you mean? I wasn't seeing in front of me anymore. That's how exhausted I was. But it was always Lebanon. And when the revolution started and this whole thing popped inside of me, I was having dinner at Hermes the night before. I came back to the room, I took off my jewelry, I was screaming, I did a crazy video. ما بعرف كأنه something exploded in me. I was here the next day. I'll show you the video from the plane. The country was on fire. I get on a motorcycle because of DHL, because I was able to go back to DHL, leave my car there through the fire, and I was on part of the revolution. Well, I can't say I'm part of the revolution. I was people that I was revolting for my country, okay? And when everybody started seeing that, I went and I questioned myself. Mariana, I had to question myself. Are you really doing this? Because you really believe in this? Or is this because everything else is happening? I went back to all, everything I've ever done at MWPR. And there's videos going, this is for Lebanon, and we're taking Lebanon to the 60s. And this is my home. This is our home. I want my daughter to come back. I wish I could do something. I wish I would give myself if I know that change would happen.
What about like, so you know how Lebanon's going through one of its worst economic crisis ever,
Is it?
and at the same
No, I don't know. I don't know, but you can tell me.
We're not living in Monaco? Wait, what?
and at the same time, you know, like how the world is globally through coronavirus, and many people can't meet up in large groups. Your company is a PR firm, and PR, like a lot of the attraction comes in these big events where people are meeting each other in large groups, and that won't be able to happen for a while now. So how are you looking to cope with that, or what's the future when it comes to that?
It's so fucking hard.
Yeah.
It's so fucking hard. I mean, right when I turned 40, my business is doing, but let's take it to just breathe. You know, you're okay, your business is doing well, you can breathe, you're not worried about paying rent, and you're not worried about surviving, and I'm, grounding myself and going in, and I don't know what, this comes out. I just signed Etro Home, which opened the biggest boutique in the world in Lebanon, right across the street. They opened it before the explosion started, hit them, they went back, they are, they refused to give up, which I'm with. I have to think of, how the fuck am I going to PR this? How am I going to PR this when we are suffering, and when we're trying to fix homes, and when it's an absolute كيف إلي عين? But then I had to think, okay, there's all kinds of fights we need to fight, and we have to choose our battles, and our economy has to continue. I mean, it took me 3 weeks to do a post for Etro because I was I didn't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to PR it. I don't know what the maneuver will be. It is going to be really hard. I am really scared. I'm really scared. I'm who isn't scared?
Yeah, but knowing you, I'm not too
I was gonna say that if anyone can do it,
You'll find a way.
Look, I don't know. I don't know شو بنعمل, بس أنت حتلاقي طريقة.
Yeah, you have more. You're definitely better equipped than most people. Definitely.
For sure.
We gotta come up with some crazy ideas. But
We'll brainstorm.
We'll get the
some
sketch
things
pad,
on the
yeah.
back end.
yeah, we
Brainstorm some
should
stuff.
brainstorm. But I'm like many others. We don't know where we're going. We don't know what's
So
happening. We're
ambiguous.
scared. But you keep pushing, right?
You have to.
What else can you do?
What else can you? The economy needs to go. You have employees. You have yourself. I mean, there is no other alternative but
And
to keep pushing.
I have a lot of volunteers in Beirut that are now my new adopted children, who I think were brought into my life when Sophie left to keep my ass here. And they are brilliant like you guys, and creative and smart and beautiful, and they don't know where their future is going. So
كلنا بالهوا سوا. So يلا. الحمد لله.
But we're gonna figure it out.
Of course we will.
We'll figure. Yeah, I mean, we like that sentence can be said, but I genuinely think we will figure. It might not happen in the next 2, 3, 6 months, a year, but
Is it كلنا بالهوا سوا أو كلنا بالخرا
dude, you're
سوا?
asking the worst
Hey.
person.
Because at this point it's either or.
You're asking like the
Both work.
Both work.
But
Look, you have an extremely interesting background, but more than that, you are a very interesting and inspiring and motivating person. And as a story and everything you've done, I think a lot of people are going to resonate with this. And
hopefully be motivated by it as well.
Definitely. And we want to thank you for even being so open to share your story with us, because people need to hear things like this and they need a bit of motivation right now. So I think you're the perfect guest in that sense. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much for coming.
Thank you for
Seriously.
having me. Thank you for listening.